Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to Mindgasms. We're going to talk about the rest of Squid Game, episodes 4 to 9. We got our whole movie chat crew here. Got Scazio AKA Sheezan Alamgir, Tubin AKA Chris James, and the woke centrist AKA frontman centrist AKA Dusty Cubes AKA Dustin Cubit. And yeah, the rest of Squid Game gets super fucking intense and exciting and ends in a really interesting way too. We've got all the spying on both sides. We've got that cop who infiltrated the game to look for his brother and is pretending to be an employee slash soldier. And we've got that doctor who is one of the players, but is also working with the employees slash soldiers, and they have a secret scheme on the side to sell the dead players' organs. We find out the identity of the front man, and in some of the games you're put into teams, and then in another one you're put into a team only to find out that you have to kill your teammate. And also we find out who is at the top of the hierarchy, who is controlling the entire operation above the control of the front man. And it comes down to the two remaining players, Gi-hoon, the main player, and his friend against each other. And they have to decide whether they're going to kill each other to be able to pay off their debts. And then there's the big spoiler at the end with the old man, and it comes down to the question of whether humans are inherently good or bad, or some complex mixture of both. And yeah, it's a super intense show. So so start off with, how about you, Sheezan? What do you think about the show overall and the rest of it that we didn't talk about before?
Oh yeah, I think it represents like greed and how people have tunnel vision on currency and like income and how much it's like points in a video game at this point. It's like, oh, I gotta get some points, or I owe points. Like it's becoming extreme in some countries,
Yeah,
and this show shows the what levels of craziness people will go in order to play this capitalism game.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. What about you, Chris?
Well, I think the big bombshell for me was the fucking old guy, dude. Like
Yeah,
him
I
being
know,
like,
right? I know, yeah.
and you know what is hilarious is because I was thinking about as soon as I saw that, I was like, shit, because we had mentioned that, or Dusty had talked about that in the last chat, or not talked about it, but it was like, I don't know. There was something I think I said something about the old guy, and I was hitting at it, and he was like, "Oh, wait and see." Or I think
Yeah.
Dusty said, "Wait and see."
Also, I had said that I made the mistake of watching like some YouTube videos about Squid Game, and then I got a massive spoiler when I had only watched the first 3 episodes about the old guy. So I might have mentioned that, but without saying what the spoiler was.
Yeah. So that was a big bombshell. They really set up. I like the ending. They set it up good for season 2. I think with him getting the card there and seeing that I forget, don't know that guy's name, but he's that familiar guy that comes out and he does the test with him originally.
Yeah, I think that's the only character's name that I remember with all the Korean names. I think his name is Gi-hoon or Ji-hoon.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, yeah, like how the whole thing is like a global game, seemingly, or there's another one that pops up if they try to do that one. Although they didn't really dismantle the one that they were involved in anyway.
Uh-huh.
No, he just won it. Won it and bounced.
Yeah, exactly.
The scene also with the 2 girls where the one friend like pretty much gives up her life or whatever there. Yeah, not that it was like super sad, but it was like, I thought that
Pretty jacked up.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
good overall. I do wonder where they're gonna go with season 2, and well, I'm sure they already know. they're gonna go.
Oh, one thing I do know is that the guy who wrote the first season originally did not plan on the season 2 at all.
I could see
Right.
how that it could just be a mini series that way. It'd be cool if they did a season 2, as long as they don't stretch it out too long to the point where it gets shitty, because that could happen too.
I think that's what's going to happen now, because
Yeah,
there's no
that's what happens.
plan for it.
That's funny. Like, ironically, milk this critique of capitalism for the purposes of profit. That's one thing I saw with Slavoj Žižek's critique of it, who's the philosopher I like, because he's a Hegelian, and I've talked with about him on my channel a few times. He was saying that, but in my opinion, his really over the top critique of the whole show, that there's this really popular thing on Netflix that's making Netflix a whole bunch of money that is ironically capitalism.
Well, that's capitalism in a nutshell. Like things, you can't fight capitalism without participating in capitalism.
Yeah, that actually basically seems to be one of the main themes and lessons of the show, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and they have like a lot of faith that they're gonna win somehow, like every player, and they're willing to throw away their lives in order to get a more balance, get out of debt, basically.
Yeah, like you have to become a monster, become like the capitalist monster in the way that they're portrayed, in order to quote unquote win the capitalist scheme, which is why I think it was kind of cool at the end with Ji-hoon, where he decides to not do the final stabbing to kill his
The coup de
friend.
grace. He doesn't want to do the coup de grace, and the other guy's just like, I'm a shitty human being. Here you go. You deserve it.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
which I think is the other guy. I think he's like the main villain in my opinion.
He ends up kind of becoming that way, right?
Yeah, he's just like ruthless, man.
Yeah.
Like to me, he became the main villain in episode 6.
What did he do then?
That's when he killed the Pakistani guy by tricking him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
was
right.
crazy.
He was like
I
one
was
of my
like-
favorite characters too, man.
Yeah, he tricked him into thinking that he gave him back his marbles, but he actually gave him back rocks, right?
Right.
That
And
guy
I forget.
didn't have enough skepticism in him, man.
Yeah, he had too much faith in people for the game, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that guy is just like, he killed the North Korean chick.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
Stabbed her to death. It's like, man, the guy's a piece of work.
Yeah. Oh, that game that we're talking about, where you pick a teammate and then it turns out that you have to kill your teammate to win. And Ji-hoon, we think that he gets the old guy killed, and it's really brilliant when you know the spoiler later of the old man being in charge. It's like he was kind of pretending to have dementia in a way
Mhm.
like that, and then he faked his own death, which was really interesting. And what did you guys think about how when we see the true identity of the front man is revealed, and it's actually the cop's brother who he has been searching for, and he was participating in the game, and then he becomes the leader who is controlling the game?
That's really weird. Like, I wonder how that came to be, because it seems so random. Like, I could never think of Ji-hoon becoming the guy running the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
knowing what they have to go through. So it's pretty crazy. Like, I wonder how someone like that would be able to conduct these games, knowing what it is to go through them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there was no indication at the beginning of the show that there was only going to be one last man standing. Because they didn't tell us that at all.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
And I didn't get the notion that that was the case until he started going through files. I was like, oh shit. there's
Yeah.
only one winner to these things
And
every year.
they didn't like spell it out exactly whether it's supposed to be common practice that the winner of the game becomes the new frontman. I don't know whether it was supposed to be that way, or there was some other set of circumstances that led to that cop's brother becoming the new frontman.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I guess I don't really know. Did it say when his brother went missing?
I don't remember
His
exactly.
brother went missing
I
at
don't
the
remember
same
either.
time as the main protagonist, right?
No, because
Yeah.
he was the front man now. Or did he go missing during the games?
Around because the main protagonist, I forget his name, but he goes to the police station and he complains about this whole game that's happening, and the police guy's like, are you crazy? Okay, we're gonna give you. That's also the same time that the cop brother is looking for his younger younger brother or something, and then
I think it's an older brother because
older brother, yeah.
he definitely looked older than the cop.
Yeah, he was looking for his older brother, and he hears the protagonist's story, and he gets the lead there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
So one other thing I wanted to mention was just taking a couple chronological things here. In the fourth episode, they went very Walking Dead there.
How so? I don't remember.
Well, instead of the game becoming the thing that people were most afraid of, it became the people themselves.
Yeah, that's when they murder
Right.
people
Yeah,
like
That's
in
when the
middle of the
purge
night or whatever.
happened.
Yeah.
So they had at night they had like a purge because they specifically like fed them only an egg, and they gave them
Yeah.
they like rationed their food, and then everyone became like bloodthirsty killers when the lights went off.
And they realized that pretty much it would increase their chances of winning too.
yeah, and the psychopaths started doing psychopathic things, and everyone else had to step up to their game too, right? Because of that, and they're like, well, now we gotta fight and whatnot.
How'd you
Yeah.
like the mob guy getting like suplexed through plate glass?
Yeah, that was intense when that woman went after he betrayed her, and then on that game she just grabbed him and fell backward while holding on to them, condemning both of them to death. That was
Who's more
fucking-
crazy, that lady or the guy that she killed? I don't know.
That's a good question, man. I mean, he was like more sadistic, I think, but maybe she was more crazy. I think I'd say that.
Yeah, I'd say that she was more like unhinged than he was. It just seemed that he was specifically had no, like, he was basically psychopathic. He had no empathy. He was just killing people, didn't care, took advantage of her and anybody else that he could, and threw them to. You saw what happened. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
the guy was ruthless.
She was more reckless. I definitely didn't think that she was going to be a character that was going to be around for long. Whereas the other guy, the boss kind of guy.
Well, she was around for a while, though.
Yeah, she didn't make it further than I thought she would, but I didn't think she would be, I don't know, top.
You
And
didn't
then
think
they almost like hacked the game, but then the people running the game had to turn off the lights because the guy could tell what glass was tempered and what wasn't.
Yeah. If they start
Yeah.
doing too well, they've got to make it more and more difficult for them, right? And that was also the game where they had the
VIPs.
Yeah, the VIPs. Yeah.
Oh, was that disturbing?
Yeah, it sure was.
I mean, they were all Americans.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah.
They're all white guys.
Yeah,
Where are they?
like American
I
white
thought they
dudes.
were-
I don't know. You can't tell. They all had masks on, right? But
No,
They
but
were
one
like-
of them
they
took
look
them
old,
off.
like old business like kind of guys. You know what I mean?
The one of those guys, the old guy that was gay, was super like crazy. He's like
Yeah.
such an
Yeah.
exaggeration of like the Western
Yeah,
capitalism.
definitely.
And it was also kind of funny, like they were gambling kind of on people that are in there for most of them are gamblers, right? So they're gambling on
Right.
gamblers.
Yeah.
Gambling on
Yeah,
that's right.
Interesting. And they're just like randomly guessing on random numbers too. I'm gonna bet on number 69.
Oh yeah, what the fuck? That's crazy.
Yeah, that was interesting too. When the cop was pretending to be one of the waiters bringing people drinks, and then he went into the room with that one guy under the pretense of giving him a blowjob, and then he I don't remember whether he knocked him out or killed him. Yeah,
I think
he
he
did
murked
kill him.
him. I thought
Sorry?
he murked him. Didn't he
Yeah?
murk him?
I think he did. Yeah, I think you're right.
Let me check because I have the show right here. I can check really quick.
Okay.
Let's see what he did. This is the episode 7. Yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm right at that section here. Yeah, he shoots him in the head.
Right. Okay.
He takes a picture of him on his phone. And actually, it doesn't show what happens to him. He just showed, the last thing you see is he has a gun to his head and he's taking a picture of him. So it doesn't actually show what happens to the guy.
But then they come and find his body, right?
Do they?
Yeah.
Let me check.
I don't remember whether the front man is there, but either the front man goes there with some of the soldiers / employees and they find his body, or he just sends them to go. But I know someone finds his body.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up because I know at the end of the bridge game, they explode the glass and everyone just kind of gets jacked up from that.
Yeah, and then that one remaining surviving woman, she doesn't even tell anyone that she's been critically wounded by one of the pieces of glass in her guts, and it's why she looks all sickly and doesn't eat much of her meal when the final 3 players are rewarded with that fancy steak dinner and wine before the final game, right?
Yeah. So what did the main villain do? Did he invest all his employees' 401k in some kind of stock market and failed somehow?
You mean the guy who faces off in Ji-hoon or the final game, or do you mean the old man?
Oh yeah, the guy that was
Oh yeah, I think I'm pretty sure they established that he, or at least imply heavily that he made a whole bunch. He made a whole bunch of he invested in a whole bunch of stocks and leveraged a whole bunch of stuff. We see that he leveraged his mother's house as collateral, and then he lost a shit ton of money on the stock market, I think.
That's nuts. The least insane person is probably the North Korean refugee who doesn't even understand how South Korea works or what the fuck's going on. Probably.
Oh yeah, the one who Are you talking about the last surviving woman, or the one who she kills because
last surviving woman,
Okay,
the cutie, yeah.
Yeah.
Which cutie? Because there are 2.
Oh man, yeah, the taller one.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's one of the main characters, right? The other one, it just shows up for just one
A
episode.
couple
and dies.
episodes. Yeah, she
Yeah,
shows up for
couple.
one and dies. One and done, I think.
Oh, she's only in for one?
Well, she's probably in the others. She just doesn't get any lines.
Okay. Yeah. I thought she might have been in a couple, but yeah, that might have been the only one in that game where they're paired up and you have to kill your partner. That might have been the only one where she actually had significant lines, yeah. Oh, I didn't ask you your just thoughts overall in general about the whole show, Dusty.
Yeah, that twist ending was pretty awesome. I had no idea it would have been the old dude.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, unlike you, I didn't have it spoiled. I was like, holy crap, the old guy. Like he's alive. What is going on? And I thought it's weird when they take a look at everyone's morality, and we get to see everybody kind of at their lowest point when it comes to that. Like we see Ji-hoon manipulate the old man because he thinks the old man has dementia and he doesn't know what he's doing when they're playing like the game, so he's like lying to the old man.
Yeah, for sure.
And the old man doesn't have dementia, but we kind of find that out later.
And
I think the old man is the most crazy person because he went into the games knowing what they were. He ran the damn things.
It's like he has that part where they have that conversation at the end where he's basically explaining, we're a bunch of super rich people and we just got bored with being rich. So, our lives are just as shitty as yours. So we wanted to kind of entertain ourselves. So we thought, well, maybe let's get all these poor people and put them in a game and pit them against each other, have them in these fucked up games to try to kill each other and, just for our entertainment. Sounds fun.
And then the main character dyes his hair red for some weird reason.
Yeah. What's up with that?
Like jarringly red. I was like, okay, that's pretty unnatural, but he looks like an anime character maybe.
Do you guys see the old man coming? Like, did you guys
no,
see it?
not at all.
No.
I wouldn't have it all if I hadn't spoiled it for myself. I wouldn't have it all. Yeah.
But actually, you know what? After that was like revealed to me, I thought about it. Like, if you think about the earlier episodes and the first challenge, for example, with the
but the old man quit the game though. Remember when they did the vote? The old man voted no. He was like the last vote.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What I was gonna say is like he's like pretty cool and like not cool, but like I don't know. He just doesn't seem that phased that people are getting murdered.
Yeah, like really chill about it. Yeah.
Oh, you mean like in the first episode where they're doing the?
I mean, like he seems
the first episode he didn't flinch at all when they were doing red light, green light. Like he wasn't at all shocked about it.
That's true. Yeah.
He was like one of the only ones that wasn't.
That was one of the most shocking moments too, because you don't know that it's going to become a kill fest yet. So when they first start shooting a whole bunch of people, that's one of the most shocking moments before it gets way more and more shocking as the show progresses.
Mm-hmm. I thought like the second most shocking one was when they had to pair up, and most people paired up with like their favorite, the best bud.
Yeah, because they thought that they were going to be teammates, right?
Yeah,
because before they had those teams and they separated them into separate teams, and then you were working together, so they logically assumed, we're gonna be in teams of two against all the other people now. But then it turned out, no, you have to kill your partner. And because we tricked you into thinking that you're gonna be teammates, you chose someone who you probably really like. So you're going to have to kill someone who means a lot to you. And of course, the worst case was that guy who killed his wife to win the game, and then he ends up hanging himself.
Yeah. And then remember, Ji-hoon just got extremely lucky for the bridge because he picked the last number.
Yeah.
He almost picked one that was close to the beginning, and he would have got taken out pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that was pure luck.
Man, like it's interesting too. In so many of the games, people figure out strategies, and sometimes they really are really good strategies. Like the one that the stock guy who was Ji-hoon's friend had for the tug of war game. That was actually a really good strategy. But then sometimes, like for that glass breaking game, people thought they had strategies, but then they turned out to be totally wrong, and then they thought, that one was breakable, so that one won't be, and then they lose track of them, and then they end up dying. But the only strategy that did work was that guy who could see which glass is tempered and which is not, and then they're like, no, that's too much of an advantage, we're gonna turn off the lights, fuck you.
And then the marbles, and he only had one marble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! But some of that stuff was gut wrenching. Like,
Definitely.
especially that episode 6. Like, man, the old man got taken out. The Pakistani guy got taken out.
Yep.
I was like,
Yeah.
man.
I kind of believed like that the old man wasn't dead and that he's gonna come back. I kind of had that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, why didn't they show his death? They just kind of walked. They kind of showed. I'm not 100% sure about this,
Gonna
but
come
they
for
showed.
season 2.
No, there were a couple people
Yeah.
that didn't show die, like the Pakistani guy. You heard the gunshot, but you didn't see him get
Oh,
shot.
yeah, that's true. So it gives
Okay.
you even more of a reason to believe that the old man died, because they didn't show his death either. They also only had us hear the gunshot.
And did we see the death of some of those people that fell through the glass? I mean, they fell through the glass, but they could have landed in like a, you know,
True. But
a
we saw
pile of
before,
That's
fluff.
really optimistic thinking.
I think we saw before, like with the tug of war challenge, when they fell from a really high height, there were a few people who were barely surviving, and they would just put them in the coffins while they were still alive and still send them to get their bodies burned.
But I think the ones that they wanted, like the dissector guy wanted, were ones that didn't die right away. They were just like freshly killed.
Yeah. That was one of the most fucked up and shocking parts of the show, too. Oh, the doctor guy's also a spy, and he's running a secret scheme that even the front man doesn't know about, where they're selling dead people's organs.
And the front man didn't care that they were selling people's organs at all. The only thing he cared about was that they were leaking information.
Yeah, so they were making it quote-unquote unfair, because it's all about fairness.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't care about your schemes, but you guys messed up the game itself by, making it unbalanced. So now you all die now.
Yep.
And he kills them all.
Yep.
Who does?
The front man.
The cop guy's brother, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the cop guy, the front man brother, killed his own brother.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah, that was interesting too. He had he just became fucking ruthless.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either, man.
Yeah, I thought he would have never found his brother. That they would have found out that he died in one of the games or something.
I thought he would have
Even
found
though
him,
when
but
they
not
said he
killed him.
won, I thought he would be like hiding out, like, just living life like a
Did the cop have
secret billionaire.
Did the cop have pictures or something to prove that this game was going on? Because they allowed all the participants to go home, right, at one point. And
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was
then
no
brought them
cell
back.
signal there, I think,
Yeah.
if that was the issue.
He took pictures and videos and was sending texts, and then right before he died, he barely got a hold of someone, but then the connection, he lost the connection quickly. So
they made out like a villain.
If he'd survived, he could have given his phone to someone and provided evidence. But I mean, it seems like this system is so corrupt that this isn't obvious, but it would be feasible to me that even the highest levels of government and law enforcement are somehow involved in it.
Maybe. They might just be keeping it super secret. 'Cause it
Well,
seems
whatever
like
island
the
it's
people
on has to know.
Yeah, all the participants die except one. It seems like each time they do a contest, or at least they vote the contest out. But even then, it's like, how do they keep their mouth shut after doing the vote and then a bunch of? Well, I guess we see what happens. Like Ji-hoon went to the cops and they thought he was crazy.
Yeah. Well, it sounds crazy, right?
Right.
Hey, they kidnapped a whole bunch of people, and they're making us play this game where we have to try to kill each other in order to pay off our debts. And everyone wears masks, and all the soldiers are dressed in pink.
Yeah, exactly. So it's too far-fetched a story unless more than one person came out about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an interesting part at the end too, when Ji-hoon is having that conversation with the old man, and they're watching that homeless guy on the street, and he looks like he's almost dead. So they're betting on whether someone will help him or not, and they get into kind of a debate about human nature. And the old man has just such profound contempt for people that he thinks that no one's going to help the guy, and then Ji-hoon wins the bet because at the last second someone helps him. I think that was interesting too. I mean, obviously, to me, human nature is a complex mixture of people are good and bad depending on the circumstances. And I think overall the show shows that too. Like, they're these ostensibly good people who get to their worst when they're in their most desperate circumstances, and you see who the best people are. Like that guy who gets tricked into getting killed by that stock market guy who's Ji-hoon's friend. Like, he's one of the morally best characters because he doesn't manipulate people as much to win.
Yeah, he's like the most innocent.
Yeah,
because he helped Ji-hoon and he didn't need to during
Yeah.
the red light, green light.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like, he had no real incentive to do that, but he
yeah,
did it anyway.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he was like the least conniving, the most innocent, the most pure, and we got to see that in that environment that just doesn't work. That's kind of even a capitalistic critique. If you need to go up the ladder in some way, you're going to backstab and be, conniving in some
Yeah.
sort of way.
That's why it's such an obvious critique of capitalism, right? Like, you have to become corrupted in order to join this corrupt system. I don't remember whether we talked about this on the previous episode, but did you guys see Tim Pool's phenomenally dumb take on Squid Game? And he said it was anti-communist, even though the writer of the show said that's not the case.
No, I didn't see it. I heard about it.
I just saw people making fun of him for that take.
Yeah, the last thing I watched about Tim Pool was some documentary some guy made about him.
Oh, is it the same channel as the video that the Dave Rubin video that you sent us?
Yeah, it's the same one, but he does one on Tim Pool.
Yeah, I might check that out too. I subscribe to that guy's channel. It's interesting. His first analysis of Dave Rubin is interesting. I'm gonna watch the second two parts too.
Yeah, the reason I found out about that is from Ben Burgess's. Ben Burgess did a thing on James Lindsay, and that was
great. That was great, especially like I mean, obviously, you can get carried away with criticisms of calling him anti-Semitic, but I love that guy's joke where he was saying something like, "Man, gay guys should stop trying to suck James Lindsay's dick," as an analogy to him saying vaguely anti-Semitic things, and then super anti-Semitic people and like white supremacists going way overboard and saying terrible shit, and using his explanations as justifications for them.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the documentary on Tim Pool is actually really good.
Oh, cool.
Isn't Tim Pool Asian? Who's like
He's half Asian.
He always says he's half Asian. Well, almost in the same sentence sometimes, saying that he doesn't care about race.
Yeah, he's playing identity politics every time he says he's half Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate identity politics. I'm half Asian.
Dude, he's oppressed in the college life because he's half Asian. Like,
I never went to
that was
college.
one of his arguments at one point.
He didn't even graduate high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, don't you have like the option to put like, I refuse to answer what my race is, or
Yeah,
or
you could
or
do
you can
that.
just say that you're white because you look white. Like, why
He
would
does
you
look
go?
white. I would have thought he was a white guy unless he didn't start incessantly mentioning that he's half Asian.
Yeah, like he's an interesting guy. But Dave Rubin is definitely the best. He's the legend, dude.
Yeah, he's so hilarious.
The legend.
You guys saw that Dave Rubin clips channel that does
Oh, they try to get him banned or something like
They
that.
deleted the YouTube channel. He did lawsuits and got the YouTube channel deleted. Dave Free Speech Rubin. There's a Kyle Kalinske video about that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, hypocritical much.
I posted that on Mixed Mental Arts, and Mike Bound, who I've talked to before from Mixed Mental Arts, was basically commenting, justifying what Dave Rubin did, and I said
Really?
to the effect of, "I really don't understand your argument, and it sounds like you're mischaracterizing his hypocrisy." Like, he said something like, "You should probably not allow people to take you out of context so that you can make your way up as an artist." And I mean, like, but if someone is making clips of you, even if it's disingenuous, they're still spreading the word about you. Like all those videos criticizing Dave Rubin, for example, they're spreading notoriety about Dave Rubin.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did he win that lawsuit? Well, he just complained a bunch to YouTube, and YouTube took it down.
I think he like literally threatened to sue the channel, or he did sue, or something like that. Yeah. Dave Rubin would win Squid Game, I think. Tim Pool would too. That would be interesting if they both played in Squid
Pool's
Game.
a little self-sabotaging. I don't think he's gonna make it.
There was like an IDW Squid Game where they all competed. Jordan Peterson,
Oh, that'd be
Tim Harris.
so funny. If Joe Rogan's still considered part of IDW, he would definitely win that because he's like the only one of all of them who works out consistently. Although you don't necessarily, some of those challenges are mental too, though.
Yeah,
like,
he would have took everybody out during the purge. He would have took everyone out.
It depends.
But I think Rogan would have failed like the cookie cutter game.
Oh yeah, that requires a lot of finesse.
Yeah, it depends on how wide the IDW circle goes in your head too. Because like Jocko Willink would destroy a majority of people. And
definitely.
Challenges.
If those the Jocko crowd even saw my comments in Mixed Mental Arts, I think my life would be on risk or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be so funny. I wonder who would do the worst in that. Maybe like Jordan
Sam
Peterson.
Harris, probably.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. He just seems like somebody that doesn't have a lot of physicality to him.
I don't
think he could kill anybody.
I was thinking maybe Jordan Peterson would do the worst because he's still recovering from like being in a year of benzodiazepine withdrawal.
Yeah, but I think
and he's older too.
I think he could stab a fool though.
He's older too. Like
or he can manipulate Rubin though to do things for him.
Anyone could manipulate Rubin.
I think Peterson would have a more in line on Rubin because I think they work together.
That's true.
Rubin's like other life, he's Batman. His other life is a stand-up comedian for right wing with right wing jokes. I think he had something. He actually does like some guy. I saw. Actually, I didn't research it that well, but I saw a story some guy posted on Reddit.
You guys should watch Tim Heidecker's stand-up special.
Tim Heidecker?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's the name of a really famous philosopher.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Tim Heidecker is he is one of the guys behind the Tim and Eric show.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with that show.
I haven't seen much of it, but I know what it is.
Yeah, he has a stand-up special. The only thing I could tell you is he intentionally basically bombs for an hour. It's so bad. And it's funny because if you know, Tim Heidecker is kind of like a modern day Andy Kaufman. So he's always in character. So when he's doing like this stand-up routine, you could see he's basically parroting bad comedy. Like he's doing parodies of it. But if you don't know who Tim is, and you just think it's this guy just bombing like horribly on stage. But it's funny because it's so uncomfortable.
Okay.
But you can see that there's like people in the audience who understand what he's doing, and they're laughing like at everything.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of skeptical of that sort of thing with comedy, where you go so over the top that it's like you're trying to deliberately do bad comedy in order to have people think it's funny because you're deliberately doing it badly.
Well, Tim Heidecker isn't a stand-up comedian.
Oh, okay.
He's just like I said, like kind of an eccentric Andy Kaufman type.
Yeah, he does music too, doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's weird. And he does some songs. I think one of his bands is called the Yellow River Boys or something like that.
That's a funny name for a band.
And the song is just about piss. Like a lot of his songs are about peeing and piss. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I'm talking about. The guy's just weird. Like if you ever saw the Tim and Eric show, only a weird person can make that show. It just doesn't come out of the minds of a regular human being. You know, he's not a comedy mastermind. He's just so eccentric that everything he does is just weird and funny.
Okay.
And sometimes not funny because it's just weird.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. What is your guys' favorite game that they have to do in Squid Game?
Oh, that's a good question. Like my favorite one, just watching, because of all the tension involved, was probably the tension and heroics. Was probably the tug of war.
Oh, interesting.
Because it almost felt like that team had zero chance of winning.
Yeah, that's the only thing. There was some teams that were like, man, there's no way that they would win just because. Physically,
they use that strategy of the momentum, but you might be right. I mean, they might have still lost with what they did. I don't know, because like the team was all men and the other team had all the women and all the old people, right?
Yeah, their team had like the old man's advice.
Right?
What did you say, then?
Their team had better leadership because of the main villain, or well, I don't know. Because of the second guy, the guy.
Yeah, Ji-hoon's friend.
Yeah.
The funny thing is like I have personal experience in a similar situation.
You played Squid Game before?
No, I'm saying just like turning a team
they
full
actually
of...
have games now for Squid Games where you and your friends can join, and you just go through those Squid Games.
I saw that there's someone with a YouTube channel who literally set up a mock Squid Game thing, although presumably they're not actually killing the losers.
No, not like that.
No, there's YouTubers that do Squid Game though. Didn't like what's his name, Mr. Beast or whatever? You know that YouTuber? Didn't he set up like a Squid Game? Obviously not to play to the death, but like you're playing for money or whatever. Like he did like a real human being.
I have no idea.
I heard something like that. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I heard about that. I think.
No, I heard about it too. I haven't seen it, but yeah, it's like, man, there's those as seen on TV stores that you have in malls or whatever. The as seen on TV stores here, you could buy like the Squid Game like masks for Halloween, and you can get like there's Squid Game merch.
I was wondering whether people were going to dress up as like the Squid Game soldiers for the last Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were people that did. I saw
a
saw some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so what I was gonna say when it comes to the tug of war thing, there is like a situation I had when I was in high school, and we had like a PE softball league where they split our classes up into different teams, and I got literally all the worst athletes on my team.
Oh, okay.
Like all of the USB or ASB people, band nerds, a bunch of people with glasses, a bunch of girls that didn't even know how to play baseball. And I
what are ASB people?
You know those people that Associated Student Body, they like do, oh, let me go work the concession stand because I have no friends.
Oh, okay.
During lunch. Yeah, those type of people. So I was like, man, there's no way I can get this team to win anything. But I like really, really shaped them up, and we got to the championships.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Nice.
I have like a bunch of unathletic people that don't know what the hell they're doing. I literally, so I made sure that I was like in the spot that needed the most athleticism. So I had to play outfield, and I coached everybody. So I had to tell everybody, okay, when you get the ball, throw it here and then throw it there. Like I literally had to give them like instructions for everything. Every time someone was at bat.
So you were the coach and the captain?
Kind of. Like there wasn't really a captain, so to speak, but I ended up being the captain because I just didn't want to lose and be on the loser team. Why am I going to be on the loser team with all the losers?
True.
At least you wouldn't have gotten killed.
Yeah, so we didn't win the championship, but I was like, wow, I can't believe I got these bunch of unathletic losers to get into like the finals. And that's one of the things I saw. Like none of the other teams communicated like that. So
did you make them athletic by some kind of training?
No, I didn't make them athletic at all. I just, because baseball is very much like, if you throw the ball to the wrong person, that's it. You fucked it up. It's very easy as long as you know who the ball's supposed to go to, especially when someone hits a ball. Because we're talking about people who never played or watched baseball. So they don't know who they have to throw it when they have a man on first and second. Like, oh, what do I do? You know, so I got to tell them, hey, anybody who catches this ball, you need to throw it to this person here on the third base, okay?
They didn't
That's who you need to
explain
throw
that,
it to.
like your gym teacher or whoever didn't explain the rules of softball before you played it.
Yeah, but who retains all of that information?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a lot to baseball, man. There's so many
That's
rules,
true.
right?
Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
true.
Yeah, like they don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know
Oh yeah, if
anything
you catch a fly
about
ball, they don't know what happens when.
Yeah, where to throw to after you get it, and what runners on first, how to do that. Like it's like little kids playing baseball, right? So
Yeah, basically. So I had to tell them exactly what to do, like at every bat. But I was like the only athletic person there, so I had to do something. And I thought it was cool that I made them feel better about themselves because they're all like, you know, the nerdy outcasts who don't really play sports. But I thought it was pretty cool that I got them to the finals. You know, they got themselves to the finals too. You know, they tried. They didn't like get mad or you know how some people could be like when they just quit and don't try.
Yeah.
Like everybody
Especially if
was
you're
like trying
frustrated.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people can be sore losers for sure.
Yeah. So they tried, and you know, I was like, okay, you guys. And I think they got it though. They know, okay, let's listen to him. If we listen to him, we're pretty much all set.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about how that's similar to the tug of war game, and that you basically took on kind of a leadership role and developed strategy and coach people in how to win.
Yeah, that's basically what the old man did. It's like, oh, I have a lot of experience. This is what you guys need to do. And it was kind of a similar situation, except I wasn't old. And I had to do this repeatedly for every at bat. But that kind of reminded me of those days. Like, oh wow, that's probably why I would pick that game as my favorite. Not the game itself, but just how everything played out.
Okay. Yeah, I think if I had to choose, my favorite game was the one where you chose teams of 2 and then it pitted you against each other with the marble game, so you don't lose all your marbles, because all that stuff. It's so intense with all the betrayal that goes on. Like that guy of the partner of the stockbroker, how he tricks him into being killed, and then Ji-hoon, we see him presumably get the old man killed, and then that guy has to kill his wife. Like, that was one of the darkest episodes for sure.
And then the girl just giving up and allowing the North Korean to get, because they were trying to compare backstories, right?
Right.
So the North Korean had somebody to go back to, so that's why she was given the pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this other girl, she killed like one of her parents or something, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, actually, I forgot about that actually. But yeah, I think you're right.
Which girl?
Yeah.
The one who kind of like sacrificed herself to the other girl. That's who you're talking about, right, Dusty?
Yeah, I think she killed one of her dad or something because he was like sexually abusing her or something like that.
I don't recall.
Yeah, she mentions that, doesn't she? Yeah, and that's why I remembered that she said she had no one to go back to, but I didn't remember what the reason was. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the reason is because she
Did
killed
they go
one
into
of her
the
parents.
backstory of? Are you talking about the North Korean chick or the chick?
Yeah.
The other chick. The other chick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the other chick, both of them had some problems, right? So, the chick that ended up dying, she killed one of her parents.
Well,
I think she killed her dad because of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the North Korean chick, I don't think it was as bad as that one chick's story that was on Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, the North Korean chick. I forgot.
It wasn't quite that bad.
That was fucking horrifying, man. When I watched that episode, it made me think, holy shit, man! Some of this stuff like sounds as bad or even perhaps worse than some aspects of the Holocaust.
Yeah, she had to watch like her mom she got raped, and then she had to watch her mom get raped or something.
Yeah, that was when they went to China.
Yeah, that's
oh wow.
Yeah, all the rape stuff happened when they went to China, when they were sex trafficked.
Oh yeah, there was this North Korean chick in Joe Rogan Experience. Yeah, her story was crazy. Didn't they have to like produce like their like
the crap, their poop? They had to save they had to save their shit and then give it up.
So odd, man. Is that
they didn't get enough food, so they had to go eat bugs and try to grow their own food and shit like that. So fucked up.
They had to save their piss and shit, and they collected it all at the end of the month.
Yeah. It almost gets that bad in Squid Game. Like, they don't rape people and have you watch yourselves get raped, but they like ration food and they put you into these games where you're forced to kill each other and all that.
In North Korea, they killed, they executed somebody who had brought Squid Game into the country.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I heard something about that. I thought, I didn't know whether it was rumors or it was actually true.
I don't know why they would do that, because it would just makes South Korea look bad if they had, look at these capitalist games that they have in South Korea, where they pit you against each other. And that's why I don't get why this would be such a horrible offense to have this go into North Korea. I guess the only reason is because there's maybe a North Korean defector there.
Yeah,
which
maybe.
tells you the story. Oh, you thought North Korea. This is even this is better than North Korea.
Yeah,
Could be.
yeah,
Yeah, I had that theory too, where it's the stories being told from the lens of a North Korean or something like that. Maybe a privileged North Korean.
maybe.
And
Maybe it
I
was
know.
just the fact that she mentioned the terrible shit that happened to her in North Korea.
Maybe that's probably why. I think if there wasn't a defector in it, they probably wouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah,
But since there is, that makes it a big, huge deal.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. So, Chris and Sheezan, which of those games were your favorites?
Yeah, I was gonna say the tug of war with Dusty.
Okay.
Yeah, just because like I thought it was the most suspenseful. Yeah.
The cliffhanger was like, damn, what if this was like a weekly show?
Yeah.
And they ended on that cliffhanger? It would be like, oh man, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. No.
from a audience perspective, yeah, I would say the rope was the most interesting one. What is it called? Tug of war.
Yeah, tug of war.
But if I were to play a game with my friends, I would play like a robot shooting paintballs as we do that first game. Yeah,
Robot
like
shooting
Moonlight.
paintballs.
yeah, I would prefer a robot that shoot paintball ammunition and play that game if I were to play a physical multiplayer game.
Mhm. Yeah, that episode with the tug of war, that was probably the biggest cliffhanger out of all of the episodes, where they end the moment before you decide whether one side falls off or not.
Yeah,
Really
I'll
the
say
moment
like
before you see.
with Andrew's pick, I'll say that to me that was the most shocking game,
Yeah,
but it wasn't my favorite. I would say that a close second would be the paired up game where they're. I thought that was the best episode overall, but I really liked like the tension, the tenseness, and the heroics in the tug of war game.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was epic.
Yeah,
That
the epic
and
win.
the glass one was pretty intense, but
yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that glass one, you're like, damn, how are they going to get across all that?
yeah,
And
it's
then,
like a lot of human sacrifices to build the say railway or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
it's
Yeah, for
almost
sure.
like, man, I wonder if there's anything they could have done, like, different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, your sacrifices to build the railway thing reminded me. I was reading
Not
a
the railway. I mean the where you're gonna jump to each glasses and go to the other end.
You mean like to improve the strategy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's without the guy that was looking through the glass to see if it's tempered or not. That's the only guy that had the skill to win that game. But the game developers those guys wanted to just play the game in a way where you're sacrificing teammates to figure out the path.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
mob boss is like, I ain't moving an inch.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's that fucking epic and disturbing moment when that crazy woman who he betrays just clutches onto him and then pulls them both to their death.
She suplexes him through a plate of glass. That's
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah,
It's like an epic death suplex.
yeah. I wonder if she had done that back onto one of the solid ones, I wonder if they
that would hurt.
would have survived that, or they would have bounced off and still fallen, or they would have like beaten each other up and only one of them would have survived. I wonder what would have happened.
I don't know. That's a good question, because they said that it could support a lot of weight, but I don't know what would happen if you just like jumped on it like that with the weight of two people.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. I don't think they would have survived either way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they never said that the tempered glass was super duper strong. They said that it could support more weight, or at least some weight at all.
Right.
It almost felt lucky that she was able to go onto his glass and just like force him off. But I don't know. This suplex through glass. I was happy, but also sad.
Yeah.
Happy because I hated that guy. Sad because of the way it had to be done.
Yeah, and that woman, like, she's kind of she's like complicated. She's more sympathetic than that guy for sure, though.
Yeah, she's like a weird opportunist, but the reason she has to be an opportunist is, quite frankly, because she's not seen as somebody particularly
threatening,
or, you know, in a lot of the games that require like feats of strength and stuff, they're like, oh, we don't want any of the women here.
Right.
So yeah, she's definitely trying to manipulate that guy to try to survive. It just seems like what she was doing was she was doing this stuff in order to survive, mainly. She wasn't like ruthless like her initial crew was.
Did she vote no for playing the game, or was she one of the? Do you guys remember?
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that
I could go. Yeah, I can't look at it because I don't have that episode saved on my tablet. Else I would check it out right now.
I wish I could remember all their names so I could look the stuff up, but
yeah, I know Jihoon and Ilnam.
I only remember Jihoon.
Ilnam is the old man.
Oh, okay.
Ilnam. I got the Ilnam.
Ilnam's a fucking fucked up bastard.
Did you guys watch the new Wheel of Time show that came out?
Of course.
Man, Dusty's like the biggest Wheel of Time nerd ever. Other than maybe Tristram. We've been talking about it on Dusty's channel, Woke Centrist. We're going to talk about episode 4 and 5 tomorrow.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. I have to watch the show first, and then I'll check it out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, check out the show. Have you read any of the books?
No, I haven't. Like I said, I'm too invested in Malazan. I think like it's the same deal. So
okay,
I'm just gonna.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say if you're watch the show, and if you're interested in reading the books, I'll tell you this: the books are a pretty different experience.
Yeah, they're pretty different, but they still have like you and I have talked about, they still kind of maintain the spirit of the show and the essences of the characters and the main themes. Like they still have the most important stuff established, but it goes in pretty different directions, and they combine some things and they change the order of events around a little bit. And
the main plot kind of is there, but one of the interesting things about the show is it seems like they add more to the world than use what's there.
Yeah, I think one thing that I thought was interesting that Craig, or I think it was maybe the other guy that was saying this on the Legendarium episode that I watched about it yesterday, is that one of the differences between the show and the books is that with the show, they already have the whole world established as they're starting out the show, so they can weave more of that into the show at moments of the plot when it makes more sense. Whereas when Robert Jordan was first writing the books, especially the very first book I of the world.
Yeah, the first 3 books, there's like some weird stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Like people talk about how the first 3 books are kind of different from the rest of the books. Like the first 3 is Rand versus Baal-Zaman, and then after that it gets way more expansive.
Yeah, because I think originally it was supposed to be like a trilogy, and then it was very popular, so he decided to continue the series. And it seems like the first 3 books, the focus is mostly on 1 or 2 characters, and then after book 4, that's when like a lot of the main characters got their own spotlights.
Yeah, and they start that earlier off in the show, right? Like they have more characters, perspectives, and it's interesting that they I like some of what they did with that in the show in terms of establishing the characters that become more important later on. They do that earlier on in the show. Like one great example of that for me is Leandrin. I don't even remember her character that much from the show, but I like that they're establishing her as a more important character this time. And then with that main, like, most sadistic White Cloak, they're kind of combining different characters into one character, which is interesting.
I think I have a theory. I think they're going to combine Leandrin and Elida's character.
Oh, you think so?
Well, if it depends on what they do in Camelin. So if the show does show Camelin in season 2, if there is no Elida, then I for sure think Leandrin and Elida are going to be combined into one character.
Mm-hmm. You think Camelin won't happen until season 2?
I think Camelin is actually happening in season 2 from what the rumors have been. Because from what I've heard, Min doesn't show up till season 2. Elaine doesn't show up till season 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of important characters.
And we only got, 3 more episodes left, and they still need to get a Faldara.
With them kind of changing the order of events around a little bit, I wonder, like, at this point after episode 5, I wonder if it's even possible for them to end it the same way that the Eye of the World ends. I wonder if they'll be able to do that within 3 episodes.
Well, if you remember in the books, once they get to the first Waygate, things very quickly speed up from there.
Okay.
I'm assuming that next episode...
Sheezan just said he got too tired and had to go to bed.
Oh, what happened to...
Chris said his kid just woke up, so he'll be back. He'll be back, though.
So I think... Because in the Eye of the World, it really speeds along once they get through the Waygates. So my guess is like they're going to spend some time briefly in Faldara and then Blight.
Okay.
And I'm guessing they're probably going to get to Faldara in either the 7th, sometime in the 7th episode, or at the very beginning of the 8th.
Okay. Yeah, like the way that they're establishing Alana's character works better for me than it does in the books too, because I know that she becomes a really important character in the books, but she's one of the ones that I have trouble keeping in track of in the book, and I already understand her character better in the show.
Yeah, we do see a lot of background on the Warders, like a lot.
Way more, yeah. That's interesting.
Way more background on the Warders, and like more background on some of the other Aes Sedai, like Leandrin and Alana.
Yeah,
I wonder how they're gonna do Varen though. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, she's a very important and very interesting character. I wonder if they're gonna be, and I kind of hope they do this too. I hope that they're gonna be more direct about who the Black Aja are, because some of that is kind of confusing in the books.
Here's one thing, preview for tomorrow that I'll tell you about right now. Did you notice how many Forsaken idol statues were in Steppen's little altar?
No. I know they went over that a little bit in the What Spoilers episode I watched, but I don't remember.
Oh, I was like really trying to really pay attention very hard there because to me that tells us how many Forsaken are going to be in the show.
Okay.
So I counted 8 different little idols there.
Are there supposed to be 13?
There are 13, and I
Okay.
counted 8 on that board, and one of them looked like Samael.
Okay. What made him look like Samael?
He was short. He had a real heavy beard. Like the only one that has Samael doesn't have a beard. Yeah, he does have a beard. He's the only one that has a beard.
Okay.
None of the other Forsaken have a beard except Samael.
Okay.
But Samael has like a Ileaner beard, so that means he has a beard without a mustache.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's another thing they're doing well in the show too. They're doing a good job of establishing the different cultures earlier on too, like the Tinkers. They make that a lot more clearer to me, at least earlier on in the show. And they're not as direct about this, but they have that line with with Loyal rather about the Aiel. And I bet we're gonna learn a whole lot more about the Aiel culture for sure too. Like maybe
yeah, in the books, like he is the one that tell Rand directly when they first meet that he thought he was an Aielman.
right.
So that's very much in line with the books. But I was like, man, like there's a lot of stuff that they excised, but I don't mind that. Like I know they condensed a lot of stuff. I thought the Breen Spring thing was fine to condense like Matt and Rand's journey down to this one place.
Yeah.
I thought the Fade, because the whole Fade battle that happens in a whole different town. It doesn't happen on Grinwell's farm. It happens in Whitebridge.
Oh, okay.
And there's no Whitebridge here, I don't believe. Maybe we'll see some of these other cities in the next season.
In Eye of the World, they basically go from one small town to another several different times, and there are some really important events that happen during that. But there's a lot of stuff that's kind of repetitive too, so it makes sense to combine stuff in that way.
Right. And there's a lot of stuff they cut. You know, like Baal Domon is not in this season.
I hope he's still going to be in it because he's interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking he has to be because he plays a major role in book 5 or 6. I think it's book 4 or 5. I know it's like when they go to Terabon or whatever.
Book 5 is Fires of Heaven?
I believe so. It's the book where Nynaeve and I think Elaine are in Terabon and they're trying to find... Oh, no, it's book 4. It's the one where she battles Megideon. Baal Domon has an important role in that. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I know they green lit season 3. So
yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool.
See how all this stuff goes together. I'm interested in how they're going to do the Blight. If they're going to do the Blight, I don't even know what they're going to do there. How are they going to do the final Eye of the World? Because
I wonder how they're going to do that, like Green Man, and if they're still going to do that. They kind of have to if they're trying to do the end of the Eye of the World specifically.
Yeah, because the Green Man has to be there because the Green Man plays a role in like the flashbacks of going through the Aiel, but who knows if they're going to do that when Rand goes through Roydion. We'll have to see. I think the Green Man, if they do a Green Man, it's going to be like organic robot type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Because the Green Man is supposed to be technology from before the world broke.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Because we don't know that. Like when you're reading Eye of the World, it's just like, oh, this weird like flower tree man comes out. It's like, okay, this is a fantasy series, so okay. But when you
Yeah,
take it
that's
in
why I
context,
pictured him as some like kind of like tree bird / jolly green giant hybrid or something like that.
yeah, and then when you get the full context of what he is, he's like a genetically engineered entity. It's not
Mhm.
like some magical tree man. Like
Oh, I said tree bird. I meant tree beard.
oh, tree beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a magical tree man.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was made through science.
yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't know that until I think book 4, which is my favorite.
The way that they're doing the channeling so far is good too. Like yeah, like everything. There were little parts that I said looked a little cheesy in episode 1, but since that, like especially in episode 4 with all the epic magic battles, almost all of it looked really cool. And then in this episode with Egwene channeling a little bit and with Perrin getting those yellow eyes, all of that looked really cool too.
Oh, Perrin Golden Eyes.
Yeah.
And then Valda just like bitching out as soon as Perrin gets loosed.
Yeah.
Like Valda just turns into a little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Laughing. I was like, yeah, he's when everyone's tied up, he's cold as ice, but as soon as someone gets loose, he's like, light, don't hurt me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, one of the things I noticed at the beginning of the fifth episode, we get some fantasy cursing.
Oh yeah, I saw you commented that in our chat group, Blood and Ashes.
Yeah, Rand says it as soon as he walks into Tarvalin.
Yeah. Well, right when that happened, I instantly had the thought, oh man, that's cheesy, but I bet Dusty and Tristram are gonna love that.
You didn't like it? You didn't like Blood and Ashes?
Like I said, like so far, I like the fact that earlier on in the episodes they actually had real swearing instead of this like fake Robert Jordan's world swearing. But I understand why they're doing that. And that one specifically, Blood and Ashes, that's not as cheesy as some of the other ones.
Well, what other ones do you think are cheesy? Well, there's Milk in a Cup.
Yeah, like that one. That's a good example. I didn't really get that one.
And Bail Domon's like my aged grandmother. That's one he always uses.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have some of the. One thing I noticed is they didn't include some of the like the verbal things that certain cultures do.
Like what?
Like a Terra Bonner always often asks yes at the end of a sentence.
Oh, okay.
So that was something that Bornhold or Leandrin would. The way that Leandrin speaks, she just speaks like everybody else.
Right. Right.
What I do know is Ilianers are supposed to speak like they're Scottish, kind of. Or pirates, the ones that go like do be, I do be.
Oh, right.
So I don't know if they're gonna keep that in there.
I wonder, I don't remember this. That guy who, that tinker guy who kind of likes Egwene, who's the only one who talks with kind of a vaguely Scottish accent. How are the tinkers supposed to talk in the books? I don't remember.
Oh, the Tinkers are like a multicultural group. They don't have like a specific dialect or anything. They don't take anybody in.
That makes sense with their way of the leaf.
Yeah, so it's based off of ideology, not like it's not like a regional thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, I understand how you think. The fifth episode is your least favorite.
Yeah, it's mostly like I said before we started. I think that I really don't like the way that Perrin looks, and I mean it was a well done scene at the end with Lan like bawling and crying, but to me, like, man, that would never happen in the books, not in a million fucking years.
What do you mean, Lana? He wasn't really crying. He was just like screaming.
You could see tears pouring down his face too, though.
Was he? 'Cause I
Yeah.
don't remember tears. I remember him yelling.
At one point, I was hoping, man, I hope he's gonna do this thing where he cries and he gets out his emotions, and then he does the land thing where he would let the sadness morph into anger and do a cry of anger. Like his cry seemed like a cry of just sad agony to me, like no anger whatsoever.
But it was a requirement of their ceremony, though.
What do you? Oh yeah, I get that within the context of the ceremony. Yeah,
because he had to show the collective grief of the group.
Yeah, I like that they played up some of the rituals a little bit too, because it helps establish the world a little more as well.
Well, that's an interesting thing about having a fully fleshed out world that's completed, is that they can fill out those little details that weren't there. Like, in opposed to, Game of Thrones, where the show exceeded the books. Like they had to be very careful. Because I know you didn't get past season 3?
I finished the first 4 seasons now.
Season 4?
I was about to start watching season 5 pretty soon.
Oh, you're gonna start watching them?
Yeah, I've been starting to catch up on it because we got the Crave app that we're just using my brother's account, and Game of Thrones is on there. So I watched season 4 a little while ago, and I'm gonna watch 5 soon.
Oh, okay. I forgot what season 4 was.
It kind of ends with after the fuck, I forget what you call them because I'm mixing up all these different fantasy terms now, but like the people beyond the wall, after they attack the wall, and after Bran and
the
company,
Wildlings.
Yeah, the Wildlings, and after Bran and company get to that weird psychedelic kind of tree with powers, and Tyrion has escaped after being freed by Jaime and killing his father. And I forget what else has happened. But yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that ends.
Is that the trial that happened?
Yeah, the trial. After the trial.
Oh, so that's when the Mandalorian fought the Mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Before he was the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of my favorite scenes in the book.
Yeah, that is a pretty awesome scene. That's a pretty awesome fight.
Because of its shocking conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. Because the giant beats the fuck out of the Viper, but he poisoned him, so he ends up dying too. Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, we see that the Mountain's getting his ass kicked, and then out of nowhere, the Mountain just like smashes his head in, and all the gruesome detail you would expect happens in the show. His face just gets totally smashed.
Yeah. Oh man, I know, since we're talking about other shows, I've been watching season 2 of American Gods finally. Have you already seen?
I haven't finished season. Wait, did I finish season 2? Season 2, does that end with him leaving on the bus?
I don't know because I've only watched the first 2 episodes so far.
Oh, season 2 gets really weird.
Yeah, it already has, man. It's interesting too because I think you haven't read Anansi Boys. That's the kind of sequel slash spin-off of American Gods. Have you?
I have not yet. I have it on my bookshelf, but I haven't read it yet.
Like that African spider god trickster dude.
Anansi.
Yeah, he's from Anansi Boys, the sequels. He isn't in American Gods at all. So they're adding some stuff from that.
Oh, I thought he was. Isn't he played by Orlando Jones?
No, in the American Gods book.
Oh, yeah, that's right. In the American Gods book, he's not in it at all.
Yeah.
I think he might be in it briefly. But
Like,
he's
it's already in season 2 getting so weird, and they're adding so much extra stuff that never happens in the book, like Shadow getting captured and being tortured on this train, and
that's kind of in there in the first book. It's just a little bit different.
yeah, it's kind of different in a lot of ways, I think, and like
A lot of it's different with the guy that's like the technology guy. The god of
for sure.
technology. Like, yeah, they go off on a big tangent with that guy.
Yeah, and the when Shadow, after that whole thing with him getting tortured on the train, when he ends up getting a ride from this chick who's two-spirit, I was instantly like, man, are they gonna make her a transgender person now, like the holy transgender two-spirit? Man, that seems way too woke. I mean, I understand.
Well, she was kind of like that in the book, if I'm not mistaken.
I must not remember her, because I didn't remember her at all.
I did.
It's probably been too long since I read the book.
Yeah, that was like the chick he rode with to the funeral home, who gave him a ride or whatever.
Okay, I didn't even remember that happened in the book. Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, totally remember that part.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened. Like, I remember her as being like kind of abnormal. She does mention that she is native, but yeah, she was definitely in there. And I think someone had the hots. Like, he thought that she had the hots for him, but she ended up liking some chick or something like that.
Okay.
Or because remember, she's all right. So he goes to that town, right? That winter town, and one of the girls that he's staying with, or the women that he's staying with, is like her sister.
Oh, okay.
Remember? I don't know if you remember that part.
I should reread the book, because I obviously have forgotten a lot of the shit that happens in it.
Yeah, I forgot about that show. How many seasons are there?
There are 3. I'm not sure if there are going to be any more, if they ended at 3, but there are 3.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting there to be more than 2.
It's
But
a lot. They're really stretching out the book.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I thought like 2 was going to be like that was it, but no, they are stretching out the book quite a bit.
Yeah. So I just got a message from Chris, and he said his kid has a tummy ache and to finish without him.
Okay. I think we covered the most like Squid Gamey stuff, and sounds like we got through a lot of what was on our chests about that show.
Yep. If you want, because we might not get a chance tomorrow with Tristan, we could talk a little bit about what we've been reading lately.
Sure. What do you got, man?
Well, I've been reading this book. So the last time I talked to Peter Salmon, who's that Derrida biography author who you and I are going to talk with about critical race theory, he recommended some authors, because we were talking about Nietzsche. He recommended some authors who, because Nietzsche is seen by many people as being I forget what the more extreme word is, but basically really sexist towards women.
Mm-hmm.
There are actually a lot of feminists who write books in defense of him in terms of that. So I asked him to recommend some books and authors to me, and then I've been searching for them, but I haven't found any of the ones that he recommended, but I found a few other books by one of the authors. So I'm reading a feminist introduction to Jacques Lacan, and I was interested in that because I've heard of Lacan from Slavoj Žižek, who I mentioned, because Slavoj Žižek is a Hegelian and a Marxist and a Lacanian. And Lacan, who was this French psychoanalyst who was kind of basically in opposition to Freud's theories. So I wanted to learn more about that. So I'm reading that, and it's pretty interesting so far. It's really complicated, and I haven't gotten that much into it yet. But some of it seems to be about how some of our sexuality and our relationship to other people and our sense of identity is constructed through language and culture rather than being completely or mostly biological in the way that Freud said it was, which I think makes sense. But that's the only basically main point that I could glean from it so far.
When, because you said that Zizek is Hegelian, does that mean Charlie Kirk would hate him?
Well, it's funny because that's one of the aspects of like James Lindsay's whole CRT and postmodernism thing that I've been criticizing along with other people, because Charlie Kirk thinks that like Marx and Hegel are the same, even though they're really in opposition to each other. Like Marx's dialectical materialism was basically flipping Hegel's dialectic totally on its head, and it's about a lot of his philosophy is about rejecting a lot of what Hegel said. Like in that debate with Ben Burgess and Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk pointed out that Marx was a young Hegelian, and then Ben Burgess said, yeah, he was at first, and then he rejected him and stopped being one. Yeah, it's like saying, hey, did you know that Thomas Sowell was a Marxist like 40 years ago? Yeah, it's funny. I've also, what else have I? Oh yeah, yesterday I listened to a Carl Sagan book that he wrote called Science as a Candle in the Dark, which is kind of interesting when I expected it to be kind of the a book about how amazing science is, which was more appealing to me when I was a militant atheist, so it's less appealing to me now, but I still appreciate the power of science and what it's allowed us to do, so it was good to hear his thoughts on it, especially because he was such a down-to-earth person.
Okay. I haven't read a Sagan book yet. I need to get one on my list.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Have you ever seen any of that original Cosmos show?
No, I haven't.
Have you seen the newer one with Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I think I've seen maybe one episode in entirety, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think both of them are good. And yeah, the original Cosmos is one of the main ways that Carl Sagan first became popular.
I want to check out some of his sci-fi.
Yeah, like Contact that got made into that movie with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. I saw that movie, but I never read that book. That would be interesting to read.
Yeah, I like the movie. The movie, I was entertained.
I don't even remember it that well because I'm pretty sure I watched it when I was a kid, so I should definitely watch it again at some point.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters when it came out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, so I read the last one of those novellas in the Expanse series that you sent me. This one was, I think it was my favorite, or at least one of my favorites, because it was mostly about Amos.
The Churn?
Yeah, The Churn, yeah.
Yeah, that tends to be most people's favorite novella from what I've seen. I haven't actually gotten into them yet. Some of the stuff. I think that's actually probably what I'll tackle next.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Get those book numbers up before the end of the year.
I also read one of those nonfiction books by Annie Jacobson that you sent me. He wrote that that book about Area 51. I read that one. It's called First Platoon. It was interesting. It was mostly about how the massive increase in technology in doing profiles of terrorists, like biometric scans and stuff like that, and the kind of like adding using algorithms in war and profiling people, and how it can get like getting so specific can actually get really fucked up and out of hand, because if you get one detail wrong, then the whole thing can go wrong. Like there's an example of this guy with a purple hat being mistaken for a terrorist because someone put in the wrong color of hat in the information of the terrorist. So it's one of countless examples of an innocent guy getting killed due to bad information that they think is super specific.
Is this like people getting drone bombed?
Yeah, that's not the whole thing, but that's some of it. It's mostly about like all of this different information that they're gathering on people, and like the increase of the surveillance state and that kind of thing is part of it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking of Annie Jacobson, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that she wrote some other books, and then I did a name search and tried to get as many as I could.
Yeah, that's cool, because I've only been able to read Area 51 so far.
Okay. You haven't read the other ones, like the one about Operation Paperclip?
No.
The one about DARPA? You haven't read those?
No, I haven't read those. Yeah.
Oh man, I'll try to see if I can get those to you, because I got those from my library like a while ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But cool. I didn't check them out because I already read them.
Okay. Yeah, so I also read the second book in the Red Rising series, that well-known science fiction one, which is a little bit sci-fi fantasy, which is pretty cool. I won't give any spoilers or anything, but like I said when I was talking about the first one, I kind of expected from the end of the first one, the second one to kind of grow and expand the world and the plot and what's happening with the characters, and that definitely did happen with book 2. So I thought it was really cool overall, and I did like it more than the first one.
Cool. I gotta check that out too.
Yeah, you should check out that series. It's pretty cool so far. And I don't remember whether I talked about this since we last mentioned what books we were reading, but I read the second one in that Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians young adult kind of fantasy series by Brandon Sanderson. Of course, it's not my favorite Brandon Sanderson, but it's pretty decent for a young adult book. I think the world building is kind of interesting and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely quirky. You know, a world revolving around the secret kingdom and the evil librarians and these talents that seem all but useless.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're kind of a reverse. Like, I'm good at breaking shit. Okay, well, try to figure out a useful way to break shit.
Yeah, and then there's like a kind of some internal jokey monologue happening all the time.
Yeah,
constantly.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's worth reading for sure. I'll definitely read the third one as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I guess that's the most interesting stuff that I've read lately that I can think of off the top of my head. So what have you been reading?
Well, I was finishing up the novellas for Arcanum Unbounded,
Oh,
The
cool.
Emperor's Soul, and
Silence for Shadows in the Forests of Hell.
Yeah. I was like, man, Emperor's Soul is really good. I forgot how good it was.
Those soon too, so you and Tristram and I can talk about it.
Yeah, so I was like, I kind of forgot how good Emperor's Soul is, like philosophically. Also, of course, Silence from that one that I can't get straight, the title. That one's really good too.
In the Forests of Hell.
Yeah, Silence for Shadows in the Forests of Hell. Did that one again too. Man, there's this one character that really grates on me. Well, at least like because I think Kate Redding reads the story because it's a female POV. But the way she does one of the characters, I was like, man, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
I forgot the guy's name, but I think you know what I mean. When you listen to it, are you going to listen to it or are you going to read it?
I think I'll probably listen to it because you sent me the audiobook before and I don't think I can access an ebook version of it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was like, man, I hate this character. It's one of the antagonists that I'm talking about. So
Okay.
I'm not talking about like a protagonist or anything. And then I started Sixth of Dusk again. I know we're not talking about it, but that was also one of my favorites.
I
in
was
that.
thinking actually, like in Arcanum Unbounded, we're talking about both Tristram and my short stories. So maybe we should talk about your favorite too for a third one. So we could talk about that one or a different one if you want to do that also.
I think Sixth of Dusk that's the one I like.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that then too. Let's add that to our list.
All right. Sixth of Dusk. Is Emperor's Soul, that's Tristram's favorite?
Yeah.
And yours is Silence, and mine is Sixth of Dusk. Okay. We all have different ones.
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Cool. Let's do that. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, for sure. I was listening to Sixth of Dusk. I'm not done with it. I just started it the other day. I finished Dune Messiah, and I was like, okay, now I remember, because I had this book confused with book 3.
Yeah, I saw you said you mixed up which book the dwarf was in.
Yeah, because I thought the dwarf was in book 3, and I thought that the stone burner incident was in book 3.
Right.
But it's not, obviously, because I thought book 2 was the 2 kids going out in the wilderness and they're getting hunted by like a wolf or something. Obviously, that can't happen in book 2 because they're born at the end of book 2.
Right.
And book 2 is so weird because right after they're born, they're like literally newborns, and I think Leto is speaking like an adult. He's literally a newborn.
I like book 2 way more in my reread this time, though. I remember being bored when I read it before, but I liked it a lot more this time. I liked a lot of what happens in the plot and with the characters, like the.
It's real short.
It is short, yeah. Like the Gola, Duncan, Idaho, spying / trying to defeat his control.
And Paul Atreides is worse than Hitler.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like the mass genocide of 60 billion people is apparently the best possible outcome that he can predict, which is so. So
I also enjoyed it. I remember the very first time I read it, I got super bored, and then I finished it, but I listened to a lot of other people talk about it, which kind of primed me for a reread. To look for those specific things this time. So when I re-listened to it, I was like, yeah, freaking Paul. He's kind of a genocidal maniac.
Yeah.
And he has created this thing that he can't control anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I love like all the schemes from different directions.
Oh, it's like completely steeped in plots upon plots upon plots. Like the very first scene is a conspiracy between like the Guild and Irulan and the Bene Gesserit. Like everybody is scheming against him, and they're all doing it together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so interesting, and yeah, we'll get into it more with Parker when we talk. And yeah, the one of the interesting of the many very religious themes in it too is when Paul is blinded, but he can truly see because he's all enlightened and he's got his godlike powers, which is obviously allegorical, and we see that in so much stuff like the Matrix, and then obviously that's biblical.
Yeah, his eyes are destroyed, but he's not blind.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the book, though, he does go wander off into the desert.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot which book that happened in too.
I thought that happened in book 3.
I thought so too.
That's why I got confused.
Yeah, and you got confused about the dwarf. The dwarf was I understood the dwarf a little more this time. The first time I read it, it seemed phenomenally cheesy. It still seemed a little cheesy this time, but I understood it a lot better.
Did you read it or listen to it?
I listened to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The dwarf just talks like a jester, like very cryptically, and
Yeah.
he's just basically like a second ticking time bomb, like that's implanted by the Beneth Laylax to try to manipulate Paul. Because
Right.
that's what
The Tlilax.
the only thing that's weird though is like, okay, so you have Paul's sister, Aaliyah, and I think in this point in time in the series, she's like 13 or 14, right? Because this is only 12 years after the first book.
Right.
So she's like a teenager, and isn't like Duncan like a grown ass man?
Yeah, I should be. Yeah.
And they have like a romantic relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's another way that it's sci-fi fantasy, right? Because it's in the future, but they've still got these really old-fashioned tribal customs in a lot of different ways, like especially within the Fremen culture.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I finished that recently, and another thing I finished was Blood of the Fold, which we'll talk about eventually.
Oh yeah, that's so terrible.
Yeah. My least favorite sort of truth book so far.
Yeah, mine too.
And then I read like something that's called it was called like the Great Giants of Political Thought. It was about the Communist Manifesto and the Social Contract.
Oh yeah, that's one you sent me. Is it actually both of those separate books, or is it a book about both of those books?
It's a book about both of those books. So,
oh, okay. I wasn't gonna read it, but I will read that now then, because I thought it was just both of those separate books, and I've already read both of those. But if it's a book about those, that could be really interesting.
Yeah, so it's not the actual, because what it does, it goes into like a little bias. I would call it biographical. It goes a little bit into Marx, talks about like his background, his history.
Oh,
and,
that'd
like,
be interesting.
some key kind of, they do take some key quotes and concepts from the Communist Manifesto and attempt to explain it, explain like what were the environmental factors that motivated this type of thinking. And there's a lot of like voiceover. There's a narrator, and then there's like voiceover, because whenever somebody is quoted, like say they're quoting Marx or some other person, some other contemporary, they throw in like some weird guy voice, like reading the quote with a fake German accent. It's pretty funny.
Okay.
It's like they would actually like attempt that. Like, yeah, like Marx is talking in English in a fake German accent. No, he probably spoke German. I don't know why they needed to get like throw in the fake German accent whenever they were quoting him. They do the same thing with the Social Contract with Rousseau. So they kind of go through his history. They do the same thing with Rousseau, and then whenever he's quoted, they throw in like a fake French accent guy. Like, it's not even the narrator; it's like some other voice actor that reads the quotes.
Does that actor do them in a really cheesy way too?
Yeah. So, like, of course, during Marx's half of that, they do reference Engels and his contemporaries, like how he's different from them, like what he thought of contemporary socialists, and I thought it was pretty interesting. It just kind of contextualizes the Communist Manifesto rather than it just being the Communist Manifesto. I have not read the Communist Manifesto. That's kind of what I was expecting to get, but that's not what I got.
Okay.
So I'll need to actually read it at some point. My library, I've checked it out, or at least put on my wait list, but I haven't got it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty short, and it's definitely by far the most straightforward and easy to understand of what little I've read of Marx so far. One of his most famous works that's been recommended to me by philosophers and academics is Capital Volume 1, and I read that, and especially in comparison to the Communist Manifesto, it's phenomenally complex and abstract and boring, but it gives you a much better and more nuanced understanding of Marx's ideology too, and especially because a lot of it tells you what his main focus was, which was economic analysis, much more than anything else.
Yeah, so they talk about how he was different from what's the other guy called?
Engels,
Hegel.
Oh, Hegel. Yeah, he was really different from Hegel. Yeah.
Yeah, it talks a little bit about Hegel and how Engels was kind of, I think Engels, in the partnership, Engels was kind of more aristocratic. So a lot of Engels actually supported Marx quite a bit monetarily, according to the book.
Okay.
Marx wasn't poor. He came up in the bourgeoisie, but Engels, I think, had even more money than Marx did. As I think Marx, his parents were just like professionals, and Engels, his parents owned like some businesses.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's going to be fake German accents for Engels. There's actually a fake Russian accent because there's quotes from Lenin in there. Because they get quotes from historical figures remarking about Marx as well. I thought it was a real because to be honest, I have very little knowledge when it comes to Marx, what was happening around him. Like, I just want to kind of find out what was going on, what drove this guy to come up with this typical political philosophy.
Yeah, I'd like to learn much more of the context and history around it too. Like I've read in a little bit about and seen documentaries about the Russian revolutions, and I've read a few of Marx's books and other people commenting on Marx, but I don't really know that much about Marx as a person and the details and interactions between like him and Engels and all that kind of stuff that was going on. So yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, so it's a very, very short book. I think it's only like a couple hours.
Oh wow, okay.
It's like maybe 3 hours total. So it's like watching. It's like basically watching a documentary. It's like that's how much content is in there.
I think that's about as short as the Communist Manifesto. That's super short too.
Okay, so yeah, it's just basically a presentation, a discussion about the documents of the Communist Manifesto and Social Contract. I found the Communist Manifesto part of it more interesting than the social contract was interesting too. They tried to be really nuanced about what it was, and then apparently there was a lot of criticisms about the social contract being like a contract for authoritarianism, but Rousseau basically refuted some of those ideas, saying that the social contract actually is what gives everyone like the ultimate freedom.
Okay.
You'll see when you listen to it. The arguments are in there about that's what I like too. They address critiques and stuff.
Charlie Kirk thinks that the social contract is actually a physical thing that you sign.
Are you serious?
I don't know whether he said Ben Burgess pointed this out on one of his podcasts, that on one of Charlie Kirk's debates, he said, "I didn't sign any social contract."
Well, you know that Charlie Kirk has probably an extremely basic understanding of these things from what it seems like.
Yeah.
I don't think he has enough time. Like, it sounds like Charlie Kirk could be well read, but he also sounds like one of those people that reads specific things to confirm, like with a preconceived notion, instead of taking in the information and digesting it organically.
Yeah, I was watching a Ben Burgess episode yesterday, which was a debate analysis between it was
Chomsky.
Chomsky and William F. Buckley. And yeah, but Ben Burgess was saying, which I think is really accurate, like he has the Wikipedia level understanding of philosophers, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah, Wikipedia level. Nothing deeper than that. And I have Wikipedia level understanding of things too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I do a lot too. I understand philosophy a lot better than Charlie Kirk, though, because I actually read philosophy. He clearly reads like if he
probably reads about people talking about philosophy.
Like if you asked him if he's read about critical race theory and postmodernism, he would say, "Yes, I've read James Lindsay and Helen Pluckrose's cynical theories."
Yeah, exactly. So that's all he needs to know, right? Doesn't need to go to the source at all. Just needs to go through like a biased cherry-picking lens, looking to affirm preconceived notions. Like that's what I don't like. It's just like, okay, I have this preconceived notion, and I'm going to look for all the stuff that supports that and ignore everything else.
Yeah, it's a much better idea to try to examine different sides of arguments, even though that can be really hard to do sometimes.
Yeah, it could definitely be difficult, but at least you can read academic arguments as well against some of these things. Like even within the material itself. Like I know when we read the intro to CRT, there were like academic arguments within that, arguing against some of the things that they were trying to push through.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. I don't know what's up with these.
Like
these
like
people.
you were just alluding to. If you're going to criticize something, you can at least get like more serious, better critiques of what you want to criticize that are more accurate than just these stupid, intellectually lazy criticisms of them that are often strawmans or almost that.
Yeah, like the Sovietization of the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you haven't got around to checking out the Addicted to Outrage yet?
No, not yet. I definitely will, though. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's like, I guess I can talk about that briefly. You are going to hear some right-wing arguments in there. There's going to be some stuff. Whenever he mentions postmodernism, that's definitely going to piss you off. I'll tell you that much. I think he has like a whole chapter on it. I was like, Jesus. Like if I didn't think that what he was talking about was important enough to address, then I would have given the book 2 stars. But since I do think there is definitely a problem when he talks about outrage and how people do get addicted to it, I think that thesis kind of outweighs his lack of understanding of postmodernism. So I kind of gave him a pass there. And the main reason I gave him a pass is he's just puppeting like the dumbasses that we have already know about, who puppet the same shit. It's almost like there was a time where we had so many different IDWs just saying postmodernism.
Yeah.
We had Gad Sad was like a huge anti-postmodernist. I don't know. Was Harris? Did he critique postmodernism?
I think he did a little bit, but not that much.
Yeah. Of course, Jordan Peterson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, there. Yeah. So I think he's just drawing upon all those, but he does actually seem to be pretty well read on a lot of different subjects, and he does. He does seem to be intellectually honest about a lot of different subjects.
That's good.
Because he was just talking about how, yeah, I basically don't like Republicans or Democrats for the
well,
most
that's
part.
good too.
And he points out like all the different hypocrisies between both sides. But the second half of the book, I think, is probably, if he had only produced the second half of the book, I probably would have given it 4 stars. Because second half of the book is when he actually meaningfully tries to address the addiction that comes with being outraged online.
Oh yeah.
And we know it happens. Like there's been, I've probably fought like urges for being outraged online. I know going through that those sessions with Chief Keef on how to have impossible conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty much chalking up that book to Peter Boghossian. I think James Lindsay, whenever he quote unquote co-writes something, it sounds like a lot of his involvement is mostly minimal. But yeah, the outrage is just, some people just get so wrapped into it. I know there was that one guy on Rogan who was like a SJW Twitter fiend who couldn't stay off Twitter. And he tried to purge that from his life. And he had like a come to Jesus moment. Yeah, that guy
that guy
Rogan
who used
had
to
on.
be all woke and then got canceled and then realized the error of his ways. And he was constantly on Twitter. Was it Jesse someone? I forget what his name is.
I don't remember. But I've seen him come on a couple different podcasts. I think even Eric Hundley talked to him, I think, once too.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So, and that's kind of like the extreme end of it. But I can kind of see that it seems like James Lindsay might be addicted to outrage.
Yeah, man.
Based off of, because I don't follow James Lindsay's Twitter. But from what I've heard, is he tweets a lot.
Yeah.
And he seems to be getting completely addicted to outrage.
Yeah,
it seems like. Because I tweet once in a blue moon, and whenever I do tweet, it's usually some weird esoteric bullshit that just crosses my mind. I think the last thing I tweeted was when a miscarriage of justice occurs, from which womb does it reside? It's like a completely inane thought that is usually related to wordplay in some sort.
Oh, okay.
It's like, yeah, like what would the womb be when a justice is miscarried?
Good question.
Like stupid shit like that. Just weird thoughts. I like to use Twitter as an archive of weird thoughts that I have.
Okay.
So you just go back and look at those. Oh yeah, I remember that weird thought I had.
Yeah, I mostly just tweet like my own creative content or any YouTube videos or podcasts or songs that I like, which is a lot.
Yeah, I think I just need to use Twitter more. It's like, oh, I have a weird thought that's not appropriate for Facebook. I'll put it on Twitter.
Yeah. Did you see that new thing about how there's going to be a new Twitter? There already is a new Twitter CEO. Jacques, whatever his name is not anymore. And the new
did he get fired, or did he just kind of?
I think he just stepped down or resigned because he got tired of dealing with all the bullshit or something like that. Yeah. And there's a new guy there. I'm pretty sure a bunch of the people the political YouTubers we follow, like Kyle Kalinske and Crystal and Sager, made videos about how the new CEO made statements saying something to the effect of, well, we don't care about freedom of speech anywhere near as much as preventing dangerous content, and something to that effect, basically.
So they're saying it's going to get more restrictive?
It sure sounds that way.
Well, I don't really care, because I don't really use Twitter all that much anyway. Like,
I mostly like it because, like, in following other small-time writers and creatives, like me, we all end up following each other, and then I get more followers, and the more followers I have, the more potential YouTube subscribers I can get.
Yeah, that's probably why I should use Twitter more. I don't know. I just don't have the knack, so to speak.
That's probably a good thing. I mean, Twitter can get you addicted to outrage, but it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it's not that way most of the time for me, other than when I'm like making fun of Sam's bulldog for his stupid dumbass on religion.
Yeah, like I'm still getting, because I think like a long time ago when I started Twitter, I clicked the bell on Peterson, and I still get all of Peterson's tweets. I just there's like the bell I clicked on was Peterson, and I think Eric Weinstein, I get all his tweets. I think I get Thaddeus Russell's tweets too.
Okay.
Just a few people. I think I clicked the bell for you. Who did I click the bell for? Also, I just don't use Twitter that much. That's why. I think, I clicked the bell for Tim Pool, even though I need to take that off. Because his hot takes are pretty shitty.
Yeah.
The only time I get on Twitter is to make fun of Tim Pool when I see one of his stupid hot takes. And if you look at Tim Pool's, like, all the responses to his hot takes, they're mostly negative.
Yeah.
Like, it's mostly people shitting on his opinion. Like, for the most part. So, I don't know.
It's the same way with Dave Rubin now, too.
Yeah, I don't even know. I haven't checked out one of his tweets in a very long time.
I haven't even checked that out myself. I just hear that from people. Sometimes I hear about his tweets and videos getting ratioed and that sort of thing.
Yeah, because of the battle of ideas. I can't do a Rubin voice.
I just love the battle of ideas.
I just love the battle of ideas.
I'm just recovering from all these high-level ideas.
It's funny because I think it was watching, I don't know if it was Kyle or somebody else, but they were talking about how the battle of ideas really isn't important in the sense of policy, because when it comes to ideas, they're not tangible. Policy is something tangible. So if you're in the political realm and you're trying to have these battles, yeah, you can have the battles of ideas, but nothing comes from that. It's about fighting for tangible material well-being for as many people as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
Not whether, the woke, look at all these woke people. The Wheel of Time is just so woke. Oh my God. I'm in like a bunch of Wheel of Time groups, and man, people are freaking, they're like super fussy. I can't believe how fussy some of these people are.
What do you mean?
About like the changes.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, I can't believe. Well, here's an exaggeration because I had never actually heard this critique. I can't believe Moraine doesn't have her staff. I can't watch this anymore. On the first book she has like a staff.
I forgot about that. I didn't even know.
I think a lot of people forget about that because she only has it for one book.
Right.
There's people complaining, oh, Moraine is too short. She doesn't look like a Carrie Ennin. Oh, I can't believe the two rivers are so multiracial. They're supposed to be rural, and there's not a lot of mixing there. It's It's like,
Oh, I can't
God.
believe the Aes Sedai rings are so giant. Why'd they do that?
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, the weaves. I hate that the weaves aren't different colors. Why aren't they supposed to be different colors for the spirit and fire? It's like, no. Oh, I can't believe that they didn't go to Camelin. This is over. They're butchering Robert Jordan's legacy.
Unfollow!
Oh, I can't believe that Perrin was married. This is not right. You guys are murdering the Wheel of Time story.
I'll never
Yeah.
even read the books again now because you piss me off so much.
Yeah, I think the most recent one was like they were really pissed that Loyal wasn't 9 feet tall. I was like, okay, that's really something to be pissed about, you know.
That's one of the few aspects of his appearance that I actually didn't care that much about. I did think in general the way he looked was cheesy, but I mean I got the sense that he was a whole lot taller than everyone else. That's all that you need to get in terms of that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't mind the fro. Like I thought the fro was a nice touch actually. Because I always thought his description was kind of weird. Like, oh yeah, he has this big flat nose and big long bushy eyebrows and long ears with tufts at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if they said if he had a beard or not. I seriously can't remember. I think like the only feature that I feel that's canonically missing is the ears. Possibly, and maybe like the long ass eyebrows, which would have looked silly if they were there.
Easy enough already. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine what they have now and add like long ass eyebrows.
Yeah.
And then add like some pointy ears with tufts of fur at the end of them that wiggle around with CG. I don't know. I think yeah, he looks silly enough as it is now. I don't think adding that other stuff would make it any better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look, someone was complaining about his hands, and not because of what. Like, oh, his hands are supposed to be huge, and books are supposed to look like tiny inside of his hands. It's like, what do you want to do? Just like give him some CG hands, like just to satisfy that aspect of the character, what the character looks like. Like, don't be ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that. That's
yeah. Like, how much money did they spend in Justice League to give Superman a CG mouth because he didn't want to shave his beard?
Yeah. No, he didn't want to shave his mustache because he was in the one of that in Mission Impossible movie at the same time where his character.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, yeah.
So they had CG'd it out, and you could tell that something was weird about his mouth.
Yeah.
It didn't look right.
Yeah.
I wonder how much money they spent doing that. And
probably a
that's
lot,
just
man.
a movie. And that's just a movie. Imagine having to do that for episodes upon episodes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you gotta cut the budget somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like all that makeup and stuff, that's so intensive, like labor intensive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
And it almost astounds me. It's like, why does CG cost so much? It seems like it's easier to do, yet it's way more expensive than practical effects.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess you would know more about that than me. I mean,
well, CG costs a lot because I guess those artists who do the CG demand a lot of money to do it.
I mean, yeah, like I remember from watching the special features in the Lord of the Rings movies that it would take like 5 hours especially for the hobbits to go in and get their prosthetic hobbit feet put on and their prosthetic and their wigs and their prosthetic ears and all that stuff. And then,
dude, I implore you, have you watched all the bonus features for Wheel of Time?
No, I haven't done that yet. I should.
Dude, go check them out. They're awesome.
Where do I find them? Are they on Prime?
Well, yeah, what you have to do is you start an episode and then you pause it so that X-ray pops up.
Oh, okay.
And then you need to select bonus content, and then it'll show you like all of the animated shorts, the behind the scenes stuff. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen the animated shorts yet either.
And have you watched any more of Everyday Negroes?
Yeah, I've been watching all their episodes about each episodes. I love that channel. That's so awesome.
Oh yeah, Medieval Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
Brother Book.
I still love Red Body Shotties the most.
Sister Longjaw or Strong Jaws.
Yeah.
Really Edrin.
When that one guy, every time that one guy reacts by saying, "Oh my goodness," that's so funny.
They're like, and I was looking at their comments, and like, I guess Daniel Green has found them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he commented on one of their videos. I was like, I think they're gonna blow up.
That'd be cool, man.
So I was like, man, these guys are hilarious. I still haven't seen all, because they watched the bonus content and reacted to some of it. But one of my favorite things is like the discussions and their theories and how close some of them get to figuring it out.
About to say that too. I was gonna say, yeah, some of their theories are great. Like they make pretty accurate predictions sometimes, and then other times their predictions are wrong, but their logic behind it makes sense with what they've seen so far.
Right. I know one of them even guessed Rand as the dragon.
Yeah, obviously that's correct.
Considering, it's like, yeah, they didn't really highlight him as having powers except for that one scene.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, I love. They called Loyal Brother Book.
Yeah, Brother Book.
And then I commented on that video, and I was like, okay, well, Brother Book is actually very accurate to the source material. And then they loved the comment.
They love my comment too when I just quoted Red Body Shotties.
And it was there's Queen Shotty, and then I love all their nicknames for all the different characters.
Yeah, for sure.
They just call Nynaeve, they just call her Wisdom.
Yeah. Medieval Mick Jagger, that's a great one too.
Medieval Mick Jagger. No, they're starting to call Matt and Rand.
Yeah. Did they have nicknames?
Well, they call Rand Mr. Sensitive, or Brother Sensitive, or Mr.
Which
Sensitive.
one, Matt?
No, that's what they call Rand.
Oh, okay.
And then they call, one of them calls Matt Brother Thievery.
Thievery?
Brother Thievery, because remember he stole the bracelet
right.
in the first episode, and then he took the dagger.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, these guys are hilarious. I love them. Apparently, they watch some other shows too, but
yeah, I saw that they seem to be going into a lot of like nerd shows, like fantasy shows and stuff. Like they're doing that show Hellbound, which I haven't seen, but is apparently a really good Korean horror show.
I remember they did the 100. I've seen some of that, and then Shadow and Bone, which I heard is another fantasy series that they adapted for TV.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. That's another one that I've heard about, but I haven't seen and I haven't read the books yet.
Yeah, but it just gives me hope because these guys really enjoy the show and they're not book readers.
Yeah.
It seems that book readers are like super sensitive, and they go, "Oh, this ruins the whole series. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You guys, I can't watch this anymore. I quit after episode 1."
Yeah. I like being able to look at different types of analyses of content. Everything from the super deep dives into the episodes on Watts.
Oh man, Watts spoilers. They spend like 2 hours on each
they spent
episode.
2 hours on episode 2 the other day. Yeah. And everything from that all the way to people who haven't read the books like that. That's what Craig was saying on the Legendarium, that one of the exciting parts is getting all of the fan theories from non-book readers and seeing all their theorizing about it, which is that I agree, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's the funnest part I'm having. Just because in some of the Wheel of Time groups I'm in, do have non-book readers who ask about. Well, they don't ask us to spoil anything, but you can see how they're trying to logically put together like who might the dragon be, because that's kind of the big question right now in the series: who is the dragon? And it's
Right.
funny, like seeing everybody trying to come up with the answer to that question.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't really seen that many theories about who the dragon would be by non-book readers yet, other than like I heard like you said, that one guy on that Everyday Negroes channel said that he thought it was Rand, like you said, right?
Yeah, one of them thought it was Rand. I know at the end of episode 4, like a couple of them thought it was going to be Nynaeve.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, Neo, move out of the way. You're not the one anymore. It's the wisdom.
Yeah, so yeah, that channel is super entertaining. There's so much content that I found just trying to see people's reactions to this. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love like nerding out so much about stuff and being able to see so much nerding out about it, and then it helps like you and Tristram and I nerd out about it more efficiently too.
Yeah, and it's weird because I didn't have when Game of Thrones came out, I didn't have the same deep connection, even though I had read both. I guess I just never looked at content, at least on YouTube, talking about Game of Thrones.
I guess
There's only one channel that I used to watch called Alt Shift X or something, but all they did was like breakdowns of each episode.
okay. Yeah, I never got into any of the nerding out about Game of Thrones because I never was keeping up with the show.
Right. I kept up with the show, and I didn't have that many. I wasn't like looking at fan theories or anything like that. And even after I had read the books and everything.
Yeah, it's really exciting to be able to follow the show right as it comes out, having already read the books.
Yeah, and it's sad that we don't have another book by now. Like, come on. Like, this is extremely ridiculous.
Oh, Game of Thrones, you mean?
Yeah, I don't think the series is going to be completed, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too, because George R. R. Martin's getting pretty old as fuck.
Yeah, and if his track record is a decade for each book, like, I don't think he's going to finish the last book. Like, what if the dude gets COVID or some shit? You know?
Yeah, man.
Like, he's in the at-risk
Family
category.
said he wouldn't finish it because he's not a grimdark guy, which makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really have any hope for that series getting
It'd be
finished.
cool. I forget where I heard this, but I heard someone suggest that Joe Abercrombie should finish it if that would be the case. I wonder if that would work out.
I don't know. Depends. I don't know what type of writer George R. R. Martin is. I don't know if he has outlines or what, or if he already has the ending. Who knows?
Yeah. If he doesn't have any of that, that could, like, I would almost want to just leave it unfinished if that.
I'm assuming he does have some type of outline. He must have an outline if they were able to finish the show. So I don't know how true to his final vision the show is, but if it's true to what the show is, people are going to have a hard time. But I doubt that's the case because, man, did the show get terrible in the last season.
Yeah, I hear that from everyone.
Oh, it's not that the whole season is terrible. It's just how it was resolved is terrible.
Yeah, I've heard like even without having heard spoilers of it, I've heard a lot of people say that they really rushed the ending and kind of fucked it up.
Yeah, definitely. It felt rushed. It felt super rushed. But yeah, if you want more of that content, though, have you read Hedge Knight of the Seven Kingdoms?
No.
Okay, I highly recommend that. It's two or three novellas that take place in the Thrones universe about a hedge knight.
Okay.
It's actually pretty good.
I could check those out for sure.
Yeah, if you can't get a hold of them, let me know. They're for sure at my library because I checked them out before.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
tried to get into his other book, like the one that's like a history, and it's actually kind of boring.
You mean George R.R. Martin?
Yeah, what was it? It's like a.
Oh yeah, he wrote like a couple that are kind of like that. I think I know which one you're talking about. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I seem to remember having.
I couldn't get through it. It was like
it was
about the
straight-
Targaryens or something.
Yeah, some of it was.
I think
Some
it's what
of
the
it
new
is-
show is going to be based on.
Some of it was interesting, and some of it had interesting information, but it wasn't presented very well. Like how they get into how there's been a long history of the Targaryens having dragons.
Yeah, I guess what was boring about it is Roy Dotrice, I think, was reading the audio book.
Yeah.
I guess he's legendary, but
I might have read that one as an ebook actually, so I might not have had to experience that.
well, I didn't have that luxury, so it wasn't very good.
Okay.
I don't know. I just don't like Roy Dotrice.
Hey, I'm drinking out of my Targaryen mug.
Nice. But I forgot what the name of the book was. But
I forget too.
I'll have to try and see if I can get back into it because I know the show is going to be coming out soon. It's called Fire and Blood.
Yeah.
But that is actually a newer book.
Yeah,
so
relatively.
This one I have. Okay, this one I don't think I've read then.
There are two that are kind of similar in a way. Like I think they're both meant to be nonfiction within the Game of Thrones universe.
Oh, the one I read was the World of Ice and Fire. That was the one that was kind of boring.
Oh, okay.
Which is the Untold History of Westeros.
Right.
I don't think I've listened to Fire and Blood. Then I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's worth checking out if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Okay. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is the name of the novella, and it was actually written 2 years after the first book.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So it came out the same year as the second book.
Okay.
Man, he was writing a book every 2 years. Oh, wait. So 96, 98, 2000, 2005. Oh, wow.
And then 2005.
The guy is 73,
2005
man.
to like 2025.
Yeah, the guy is 73. If he's not finishing this stuff now, I have doubts.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, he was 63 when the show came out. Show came out like 10 years ago.
Man. Yeah, I have doubts that he's going to finish it too.
I bet like there's probably a lot of people that has just kind of given up on whether he's going to finish it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing, "Hey, Winds of Winter is supposed to come out next fall," and then it doesn't. And then 2 years later, I hear that again.
Yeah, the last two books are The Winds of Winter and A Dream of Spring.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if he leaves his legacy unfinished.
Yeah.
Do you know how much involvement he has with that Fire and Blood series?
I don't know. I think that he's somehow involved. I think I might have heard that, but I'm not sure to what degree.
We'll see, man. I don't think this is going to get finished.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's too bad.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's tapped anybody to finish it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Robert Jordan's situation was definitely unique.
Yeah,
Because
that's
his
true.
wife was editing the book, and she tapped the next person. I don't know how his deal would work, and then who's he working with as an editor? I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's a good question.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, you want to end it here now, man? Since we've talked about so many other books and shows and fantasy and nerdy stuff. Things.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, man. Too bad that Sheezan and Chris had to duck out early there, but they were still there for pretty much all of our actual discussion about Squid Game itself, and then we got into what we've been reading and other nerdy shows and movies and stuff. So yeah,
hell yeah.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching our exciting Nerd Out Fest, and look forward to. I got a message from Peter saying that Wednesday of next week would work for him for a CRT chat. Would that work for you?
Yeah, I just have to set aside some time in the morning. What time would be good for him?
I think probably like the same time we were gonna plan last time, so like maybe 1 p.m. your time.
Yeah, so it'll be 1 p.m. to 3.
Okay.
I'll try to get that time off on Wednesday.
Okay.
If that doesn't happen, I guess we could just do like some impromptu thing.
Yeah, if you want, if that doesn't end up happening, we could do that episode that we've been meaning to do, comparing How to Be an Anti-Racist and Robin DiAngelo's newest book, Nice Racism, and talk about whether they actually qualify as CRT or they're wacko fringe at best.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we could do that. And then also next week, supposed to be having another kind of debate / conversation with Reed Nice Wonder from the Cordial Curiosity Through Epistemology channel and my uber Christian friend Shane Kennedy, and we're going to talk about what I think is the case, which is that street epistemology itself has baked in biases and faith claims that being rational is inherently the best way to be, and that being religious is inherently better than not being religious, and we should use this Socratic method to ask people about their religions, to poke holes in their religion, in their religious beliefs, rather.
Right.
So look forward to that as well, and then next weekend, we should hopefully be finally doing that Dune Messiah chat with Parker. So that'll be fun too.
Yeah, I'm ready for that one now. I was able to listen to that. The link you gave me actually got taken down.
Oh, it did? Oh, okay. Yeah, they keep getting taken down. Like, I think I actually listened to a different one than the one I sent you. So I sent you the first other one I found, and there are a few others, but
I found another one. It was like a playlist that was unlisted.
Oh, okay.
So someone had, I just searched Dune Messiah, and I clicked on one of the videos, and it wasn't it. And then it looks like it was on a playlist, and then I checked the playlist, and they had, and the title wasn't even Dune Messiah. It's like sci-fi book number 2.
Okay.
What the hell is this?
That's weird.
I think they have to hide like the title of it so that it doesn't get taken down.
Right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, this is the second Dune book. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Was the reason why I was able to tell because it's a video, so the video showed the cover of Dune Messiah.
Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So yeah, check that out next week, guys, and also check out the video I did yesterday about my review / reaction to the new Dune movie, which I think is actually a pretty good adaptation, and there's supposed to be a sequel, and I'm sure you and Parker and I will talk a bit about that as well. And yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. subscribe, click that like button, click the bell to be notified when I come out with more videos. Check out all those upcoming chats, and check out my Patreon. The link is in the description as always. And like I always say, I love you all. Keep being the tiny beam of light that shines through the almost impenetrable darkness in the universe. And most importantly, always remember this: the funk cures all, and truth is in the heart. And watch Squid Game and check out all that other stuff we mentioned. Read the Dune books, watch Wheel of Time, watch all those other awesome shows. And yeah, thanks. Anything else you want to say before we end it there, Dusty?
No, just join us on my channel tomorrow. We're going to talk about Wheel of Time episode 4 and 5. I'm really excited to talk about these 2 episodes, since 4 is my favorite so far. So there's probably going to be a lot of gushing over that.
Yeah,
but join us tomorrow when we talk about those 2 episodes.
Yeah, for sure. Check that out on the Woke Centrist, for sure. All right. Thanks again, everyone, and adios until next time.
Sayonara.